GLAM, Los Angeles.
Hi, Kirby. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Los Angeles.
This guest needs no introduction. Like, literally.
Icon, legend.
One of the most in-demand celebrity hairstylists. You've seen his work. You know his work. You've cut pictures out of the Olsons and brought that photo into your hairstylist.
Correct.
That was Mark Townsend. Bang Whisperer.
Dakota Johnson.
Period.
My hair.
Period.
Fix my hair, Mark. Fix it. My hair icon. Love her. Love her.
Me too.
We're so happy to have you here today. You also listen, which makes it even more exciting.
I'm a huge fan.
Mark is a ray of sunshine. So we are thrilled to talk to you because Sarah and I have both been excited about this. I feel like it's such a long time coming, but anytime we get FaceTime with you in the chair, we know we're going to learn something or like get this really good story of like how some iconic hair came to be.
Yes, and like we've like known Mark for so long now, like a decade, and you have always just been so kind. Like ever since we were like baby beauty editors, like you just always are just such a kind human. So we're just so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay.
I've been counting the like days waiting
Oh my
for
gosh.
this.
I was like, bring the tea, Mark.
I brought it.
Bring the tea, Mark. Okay, Mark, before we get started on the tea, we want to know what's on your face and in your hair.
On my face, IS Clinical. Wait, the cleansing complex, what's the alpha? Hydra Alpha Serum. Sorry, I'm messing up the names.
No.
Yes.
But, and the moisturizing complex. I have to tell you, I travel so much with Georgie Eisdell, the makeup artist, and she got me. I just used to complain about like I have this combination skin. I'm getting older. Blah 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 blah. And she gave me this regimen, and I've stuck to it for like 2 years.
Tried and true.
My skin looks better now at 51 than it did 10 years ago.
Yeah, you look amazing.
You do.
Well, thank you.
Okay, hair.
Well, I just got my hair and beard colored on Monday by Sue Moy at Mesh Salon. But you know what I love? California Born makes a paste and also a cream called Days of Dirt. They're both amazing texturizer. And I've got the paste in my hair right now.
Oh, cool.
Because it also makes my hair look really thick.
I feel like that's a first mention for California Born on the pod.
Oh, you've got to get Jason to send it to you. It's amazing. And he makes it here in LA. He's a men's groomer.
No way.
But the products are incredible.
Amazing.
Like, especially for that second day kind of like lived in, like piecey around the ends. It's what I put on like Dakota's hair all the time when we want that less brushed out, more piecey looking.
Okay.
It's that Days of Dirt. Because
Days of Dirt.
it's not heavy. It's great.
Okay,
Love.
where can you get it?
I mean, I get it on Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
We love that. We have to talk about your career, obviously, where you got your start. You started assisting Sally Hershberger.
Mhm. I actually started assisting Danilo.
Oh, sorry. First you started Danilo.
Yes, in 1996.
1996. Can you tell us what it was like working back then? Can you paint us a picture?
I mean, the exact opposite of what it's like now.
Yeah.
It has changed a lot, but because I got asked this question recently about, how much has changed because of the social media and everything else. I come from a time where hair and makeup, we were the secrets. Like we were the smoke and mirrors behind the scenes that no one ever saw, no one ever heard from. And we were actually the best secret keepers. And then with the influx of social media, each individual artist became their own brand. And you have to promote your brand. So it became, all the secrets are spilled now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't keep those secrets to ourselves. And so that's changed in a big way. But I remember when press first started being allowed backstage at fashion shows. And I mean, talk about a change. Like the generation before me, like that was their big change. The models hated when press were allowed to come backstage because they were getting photographed before hair and makeup. And you were seeing the whole process. Hair and makeup people hated it because they were being asked, like, how do you create this? And their whole thing is, I'm creating a fantasy. Like, it's a fashion show is not a reality at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So-
obviously, you hairstylists are stars, but a lot of you also just sort of wanted to stay behind the scenes as well. So for you to have to like be face to camera on social media doesn't feel natural to a lot of you.
Not at all. I do have to say, though, working with Sally, I mean, she kind of was that one of the first of the major like celebrity hairstylists. Like
Yep.
I would have to blow out her hair because she was going on to the Today Show to talk about trends, or she was always on camera. And I got to watch and learn a lot from her. It was incredible. And also working back then as an assistant, especially when I was with Danilo, I was his assistant. I went everywhere with him, on photo shoots. If it was getting a celebrity ready for a red carpet, you always had your assistant. Same with Sally. And that's how we learned how to do hair, how to talk to a publicist, how to talk to a celebrity, how to talk to a photographer on set.
Right.
And then photographers like David LaChapelle, who always booked Danilo. He couldn't get Danilo, so he would then book me. With Sally Hirschberger, like she would be in Los Angeles, I would be in New York, and I would do hair for her clients, and the magazine cover would still say hair by Sally Hirschberger.
Yes. Okay.
But again, that's how you really learn. And it was like a safety net around you. Like I tried to explain that to Clayton when he was assisting me. Like you have a great safety net right now. This is where you get to ask questions and learn and observe everything.
By the way, if you haven't listened to Clayton's episode, go listen to it because he references Mark and how he assisted him. And it's so cute. And it's crazy because now they're seeing each other at events, like on these levels of like doing the hair for these amazing, amazing clients. Mark, I wanted to ask you though, where are you from originally?
Lakeland, Florida.
Okay. How did you make your way out to LA?
So
or was it New York?
New York.
Okay.
In 1996, I'd graduated from cosmetology school. And, I was going to college. It wasn't for me. So I went to the Travis Vocational Technical Center and I got my cosmetology license and went with a friend to New York who was looking at schools. And I was just tagging along to like go into all these salons that I had read about. And on that trip, I walked into the Orbie salon. And it was like, the gates of heaven opened up in front of me. Like that salon in the 90s. I mean, I think Linda Evangelista was the first face I saw in the salon when I just walked in off the street. And I met, at the time, Orbie's boyfriend/manager, Omar, was running the whole salon. And he came up to me and was just like, can I help you? And I like I said, I was a kid that just said, I just graduated from hair school. Like I've always wanted to just look in this place. And he was like, oh, let me show you around. And he like took me around and then told me, if you really want to work here, like there's a spot opening up on Orbie's team, but you have to be ready for Fashion Week. Like I'd have to move in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And like one regret in my life, I said to him like, oh, let me think about it.
Right.
He's like, you have to try out still. And you have to beat like some of the people that already work here, like the assistants that are already here. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And did it. And then I was like on the plane on my way back to Florida thinking like, I can't believe like that guy just handed me my dream. And I said, let me think about it. I called him the next morning and I was like, I'm selling my car. I'm breaking the lease on my apartment. I'll do whatever it takes to get there.
Wow.
And so like 2.5 weeks later, I moved to New York and slept on a friend's couch and took the train into the city every day. And I worked at Orbie for, I think about 6 months. And the thing, I wanted to be Orbie's first assistant. And he already had Judy. Like anybody in the business knows Judy, who assisted him for over 30 years. She was there. She was like his right hand. And she came in just before me. But it was all the people at the Orbie salon that introduced me to Danilo. And then through Danilo, I met Brooke Wall, his agent, and she introduced me to Sally Hirschberger. So I assisted Danilo for like 1.5 years, and then I was Sally's assistant for 3 years.
Wow. Can you share some of their clients, like Danilo and Sally's, that you helped work on?
Danilo was so about fashion back then. So I would be on photo shoots with him with, again, like David LaChapelle, these insanely creative photo shoots. Also, he worked a lot with Sav Sanzabo, like really incredible photographers, like celebrities. I think he was doing like Sarah Jessica Parker back then.
Oh my gosh, wow.
He hadn't started with Gwen Stefani.
Okay.
I mean, talk about like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sally really was that one hairdresser that was crossing over between a celebrity hairstylist and a major fashion hairstylist. So when I was working with her, we'd be on set with Italian Vogue with Stephen Meisel one day, and then 3 days later doing Us magazine when it was a monthly magazine.
Oh my gosh.
Like doing the cover with like Tom Cruise. So she was doing all the celebs and working with like the biggest photographers on fashion campaigns. It was an incredible time.
What a learning
Sally's
experience
energy
for you.
is crazy,
It's
by the way.
insane.
Like,
There's nobody like her.
I remember when I first met her, I was a baby just getting my start at Pop Sugar. She came in to do a hair tutorial. First of all, that bitch whipped everyone into shape.
Oh,
she knew
seconds.
exactly what she wanted. I
Yes.
was like, she's directing this.
Yeah.
I just sat there kind of like laughing because she was just so in her element and she was telling everybody else what to do.
Yes.
Like even the camera operators.
Yes.
It was incredible. And afterwards, everyone was like, who the hell was that woman? Because, they're not in the beauty industry. I'm like, that's Sally Hirschberger, babes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
get
Bow
acquainted.
down.
I used to walk behind her, and it was almost like following the Tasmanian devil. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
there was like swoops of products, scissors, combs, like
Oh my
everywhere
gosh.
going off, and I'm like
Yes.
running behind, like cleaning it up and
That's
picking
really
it all up.
amazing. Are there any like crazy stories, like one specifically, like a memory from working for Sally that sticks out in your head?
Oh my god!
You're like every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tough time. But I think like Sally and I really kind of bonded on this trip. We had to go to Miami for the Vanity Fair Hollywood cover. It was one of those shoots where Annie Leibovitz had decided publicists weren't going to be allowed on her set.
Oh, wait, but kind of amazing.
Right.
Only Annie
exactly.
could be,
Only
make
Annie
that
could do
rule.
that. I mean, we went to Miami to shoot in someone's backyard. I mean, we could have done it in Central Park. We could have done it in a studio. Just making it travel.
Already,
Magazines used to spend crazy amounts of money, but it was more of a like, yeah, and the celebrities come, but you can't bring your publicist. So it was a pretty cool shoot to be on because you didn't have a million publicists telling you what to do. But we had horrible weather. And we used to have 2 days to shoot those covers back then. And everyone was together. They didn't put them in plates. Like Annie lined up everybody on set. It turns out like a hurricane was coming in. We had half a day to do this shoot. And Sally and her other two assistants were on set. I was in the mobile home by myself with one makeup artist doing as much prep work as we could, then just get them to set. When I got to set with the last person, I was walking over with Penelope Cruz and walked over, and it was like chaos like I had never seen.
Herding cats.
It was worse than herding cats. It was trying to herd wind because Annie Leibovitz is the type of photographer that will say like, I want her hair, and her hair to blow, but like not the other ones.
Oh.
And they had set up the fans and they were crossing each other. So you couldn't control where the wind was going. So Annie's screaming at Sally. Sally is screaming at her whole team. Like it was a lot. Annie's yelling at the celebrities. Like I'd never seen anything like it. We get the shots. I'm holding like my flip phone back in the day, trying to make sure like Sally's flight was still going to take off while literally touching up like Penelope Cruz. And Sally and I raced to the airport. At the end of the shoot, one of her other assistants had just, the stress was too much. And he said, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm only going to assist you in the salon. I don't want to do shoots anymore. He's a very famous hairdresser now.
Wow.
I'm dying to know.
But Sally says to me in the car on the way to the airport, like, I can't believe you just quit like that. And I said, well, I used to be a very nervous flyer, so I took a Xanax. And I had word vomit. And I just said, Sally, you can't talk to people that way. Like, you can't yell at us, especially in front of the photographer. And you should never allow a photographer to yell at your team. It says Hair by Sally Hirschberger, not Sally, Mark, so-and-so and so-and-so. And she was like, oh. And I think maybe because I called her out on it, she respected me. But the best part about that story is we get to the airport and Sally agrees to even sit in coach because she had to get out of Miami. It was the last flight that was going to get out. She takes me up to the first class check-in. She's like, just come with me. I have status. We're not going to miss this flight. This is back, we didn't have to check our products, even our scissors. It was all carry-on. So Sally, we get our tickets and Sally says to me like, I'll hold the plane. Like you take my kit and my bag and meet me there. So I'm literally running through the Miami airport. I have my kit, my overnight bag, her overnight bag. And as I'm running, I trip and I mean, I fall, like roll through the airport. Suitcases come over me. It was such a scene. And I stood up and I'm like, she's going to leave me here. She's going to leave me in Miami with her kit. I can't even afford a plane ticket home. What am I going to do? But I stomped through the airport and I turned the corner and there is Sally Hirschberger blocking the flight attendants from shutting the doors to the plane.
Wow.
Like this was pre 9/11. So
yeah, that was allowed.
Oh,
basically.
it was allowed. And Sally sees me. She's like, come on. And I said to her, I'm like, you held a plane. I cannot believe this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you meant a lot to her.
I guess so.
I was going to ask, are assistants paid for big magazine, or at that time, were they paid for big magazine shoots like that, even though Sally was the only one getting credited?
Yes.
By the publication?
By the publication.
Wow. Okay.
We used to even get, I mean, I've explained it to my assistants now that even like movie studios, when I was assisting Sally, if she, whatever her day rate was, then I would get 10% of that.
Wow.
So if she was making $10,000 a day, like they would pay me $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
It's different.
a very different time.
Yeah, because that's not the case now.
No.
A lot of people are like, we've talked to people on this podcast who are like, you want to do a big publication, it's like you're getting exposure. Even like people that are not assisting, you know, like it's a very weird world.
But
now.
I remember like Vogue, even because to do the cover of Vogue is a huge thing.
Of course.
You're not getting paid a huge day rate for that. I think they paid $350 to Sally back then, and $150 to the assistant.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the social media aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, like you walked into Orbie and then you were like, this is my time. This is me. But now there are glam squads. I mean, I remember reading Allure magazine as a kid and going to the back with the beauty directory. And like, that's how I'm like, oh, these are the important people. Like, this is who I want to go see if I visit LA or if I visit Dallas or wherever it was. And now that's what it is with social media. It's like, oh, this person has a huge following or like a very engaged TikTok or they work with this celebrity. Would you say the biggest, I mean, obviously the biggest change is social media, but like in what aspects would you say?
But I do love that at least it's accepted now, because at the beginning of social media, again, personal publicists just refused to let us like take pictures of the clients. You know, we were the publicists who were still trying to keep us a secret. Let's put it that way. And then they didn't like that brands were paying hair and makeup. Brands became really smart and they saw that the best way to, like, you're never going to afford a celebrity endorsement, but you can get their hairdresser to say that they used it or the makeup artist to say you used the product. And that came at a really great time because it's when our rates got slashed. And I mean, I literally work Oscars now for maybe a quarter of what it would have been 10 years ago, at least. If not even a bigger difference, because you could do 2 or 3 clients back then. So the social media, like for us to be sponsored by a brand, relied on social media. So there was a maybe 2-3 years where it was like a constant battle about social media. And then I think everyone accepted like this is a part of it. But it also, we saw the new generation of actors coming up who were raised on social media themselves. So they didn't care that you were like filming them before hair and makeup, and they had been watching other people do the process so much that they wanted to be in it as well. So that really has changed. And also, one good thing that came from this is, you know, we were getting sued by photographers on Instagram for putting up red carpet pictures.
Oh, yep.
That's a really tricky thing. I had one photographer reach out to me and he's like, that's my work. And I wrote back, that's my work. Like, she wouldn't look that way if she didn't have her hair and makeup done. You wouldn't be taking her picture. And he was trying to sue me for a huge amount of money.
Wow.
And I just took the picture that I did use of his and I replaced it with one that I had taken myself.
Yeah.
And then I realized, wait, this is so much better anyways. I have control of the light. I have control of the body movements, everything else, especially as a hairstylist. We're always trying to get that 3/4 look or like a shot of the back of the head. So like now that social media is so accepted and actually expected, like now when we plan out glam time, it's like, okay, we'll do hair and makeup for 2 hours and then 30 minutes to like make sure we get the right photos.
Wow.
You know, and I love that the celebs are supportive of that. Like once they hear the story that we can't use red carpet pictures of them, then they're much more willing to be a part of it. But I mean, my agent used to laugh at me. I like specialize in clients that don't have social media and like don't do a ton of press.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it when I do get those shots, like they're pretty exclusive.
Right. I was actually going to ask you, if there's someone that is like, I do not want any social of me, have you noticed that there is an increase in your rate? Like, because you cannot share this, I'm going to pay you to essentially keep quiet? Or is it, no, it's just,
it's the
this is the
opposite.
rate and we're not going to.
Jeez.
That's crazy. I was also, do you mind if I ask
No,
this?
go ahead.
I also wanted to ask about the brand thing.
Oh my
Because
gosh,
I
this
think
is the same
about this
question.
all the time. That let's say you have a client, you have a brand deal. Are you comfortable talking to us about how that works, like getting permission from the client? Because that client may have obligations to competitive brands.
Exactly.
So then how do you make sure that you're getting your payment? Has there ever been a moment where a client's like, I'm just going to pay you whatever it is so that you don't have to
Take
do
this brand
this?
deal.
I've never had a client offer that.
Offer money.
No.
Just kidding.
But I have. I believe honesty is the best policy, and I know that I'm against the grain in believing this, but I do think it's better to ask for permission than forgiveness. I mean, I've had a long career so far, and I'm not anywhere near ready to stop, so I don't want to like piss people off. So I'd rather be really honest with them. I mean, I've had the relationship with Ashley and Mary Kate that I've had for so long. I mean, they'd be mad if I said how long it's been at this point, but I've been doing their hair since they were 16 years old.
Right.
So, and for a long time, I would only do them for Met Gala. I never shared that day. Like fashion, like CFGA Awards, Met Gala, that's for the Olsons. And when Ashley goes to the Vanity Fair party, like after the Oscars, she's always texting me like, whenever you're done, come over. Because she knows fashion days, I'm all hers. Like I don't do any other celebrities. I never want them to be stressed out on that day. But I started getting brand sponsorships. But a big fight was always, but there's two of them. Do you want to sponsor Ashley or Mary Kate? And they're like, oh no, like both, obviously. And I'm like, well, then it's double what you would want. And then to tell you the truth, I'm the only person that's allowed to have a camera in that room. So it's worth a lot more than what you're offering.
Right. And they're okay with that.
They love that I said that.
They trust you and
they were more like, because they were the first ones that I went to and said, look, I'm being offered this amount of money. It's really good. Want to split it? And they're like, no, we're not going to split it. Like, get it.
They want you to win.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much.
That is actually heartwarming to hear because
totally.
I think about it all the time, just the logistics of,
especially now.
because I have seen situations where a person is posting about someone and you can tell that celebrity is like not really okay with being associated with that brand. There's also
you can almost see how uncomfortable they look in the videos. Like, oh, you're holding the product in the shot with me.
Right next to you. It's very interesting to me, but
I do understand that like they need to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And the client should be happy to support them in that way. Can you share like one of the first brands that like
invested in you?
Like offered this sort of deal?
I was under contract for a very long time. Like I had a contract with Matrix for 3 years.
Okay.
Then I had a 6-month period where one brand bought my whole award season. Like bought the 5 big award shows. And then by the end of that year, I had started my contract with Dove, and then that lasted for 13 years. So I didn't really look for sponsorships. My agents never had to like really look for those things for me because I had my contract that was talking about a safety net. After Dove, like then I started I'm in the pay for play game now. Like, you know, I can talk about much higher end products. And I've been lucky to work with some great brands out there. I mean, the ones that are my favorite are usually like because I love their product. Like one thing that was so important to me, like being a spokesperson for as long as I was for Dove, like I kept it authentic though.
Yeah.
I would tell the brand like, I don't like this product. It's not doing what it says it does. It's not holding up. And they were great with me. They were like, then let's focus on the other products in this line. So it was like a struggle for me in the beginning. Like I'm going to line up 7 products from one product company and say I only use those to get the celebrity ready. Like, when what I loved about being under contract, I would just pepper in everything that I really, really used. Like and I think that's what led to my relationship with so many editors because
you were honest.
I don't bullshit.
Yeah. Can I tell you when I texted Mark, but at the Unilever trip, there was like, you know, the Dove moment, which you had to leave early. It was the Dove hair. And they were like, what do you think of when you think of Dove hair?
I'm
and
like, Mark.
Literally, everyone was like, Mark Townsend, all these beauty editors. And I was just like, this is so special.
Did you say it out loud?
Yeah, people said your name out loud.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I texted you and I was like, oh my God, this was so cute. I mean, I really still like, maybe not the current dry shampoo, but like I really associate you with that brand. And I used their brand because of you.
I mean, I can't tell you how many cases of that Dove dry shampoo that I went through with Ashley and Mary Kate over the years.
Wow.
Like I mean, I fought for that product from the very, very, very beginning. The first time I had the sample of it, I was like, this is a game changer. Like, this is, like, I felt like I was holding gold. And there was actually a huge infighting with the brand about how it was going to be marketed. Like, I wanted it as a styling product. They wanted it as a scalp cleanser. And I'm like, you are sitting on the best texturizing spray I have ever put in a client's hair. And you're not going to say it's a texturizer? And oh God, I don't want to get in trouble. But I think they let me push the boundaries as much as legally was allowed.
Right.
By talking about it that way.
Lipstick Lesbians did talk about this on our episode with them, where there's sometimes a disconnect between how a product comes to market and how it's being messaged. And then you try the product and you're like, it's so much better as this. Why are we trying to make it this other thing?
I was literally texting Mara Rozak about her. I think you and I talked about, I put it in your hair when I did your hair at the salon. She has the air thickening spray.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. But it's the new to hair texturizer. Like, I've replaced salt sprays because of that spray. It gives you the most amazing, like, beachy, lived-in texture. I mean, I'm still doing a beach wave. I love it. So, and that product gives it to you without the salt drying out the hair, without it getting crunchy and sticky. And that product is like, it's like a 3-for-1 in a way.
Totally.
Because it's a texturizer. It really is like a good refresher at the roots. But again, for me, it's the texturizing of it.
When Mara has done my hair, she's actually used it as a texturizer. She's even said, I think she's very flexible with her products. I mean, she is a hairstylist, so she gets it. We love that brand. Yeah. It's amazing.
I love it. Did you try the new cream?
I have not tried the new cream yet.
Evergreen, it's called, right?
Yeah.
I need
And
to try it.
launching that alongside Emma's new haircut
I mean,
could not be any better, truly.
Iconic.
What an amazing launch. All right, Mark, award season has come and gone, but we'd be remiss not to ask you about it. Specifically, are there any looks that you have done in the OG days currently that are favorites of yours? And then also, what makes a hairstyle suitable for the red carpet versus anything else you work on?
Oh, well, I'll answer that one first. When you're getting someone ready for a red carpet, they're going to be seen from every single angle. Whereas when you're doing editorial, all you care about is what the camera sees. So, I mean, I used to do a ton of Cosmo covers. Like the mess that you would see in the back of a model's head compared to all this hair around her face and the wind blowing, like those are great photo shoot tricks. But you have to be so aware when you're doing a red carpet. Like, you don't even want a bang that's going to be too heavy. Is it covering up too much of the eye? Is it going to cast a shadow? Yep. You know, a lot of times tendrils can cause really bad shadows across the face if there's not a strong enough flash. And securing those updos. I mean, that's really like doing a red carpet is really like a 20-hour event now. I mean, there is the red carpet, the award show, then the after parties if you're not going back for touch-ups or a change. So also, you've got to really know your products. And you've got to know the ones that are going to work and hold for you. Thinking about favorite hairstyles, I mean, my all-time favorite was not from an award show. It was actually the premiere of The Good German, and I did Cate Blanchett's hair for it. It was one of those crazy-ass press days where we did all the morning shows in New York, then flew to LA, went straight from the airport to backstage at Jay Leno when he was still on. And then we had 7 minutes to get her out of her talk show look into a premiere look. And she was wearing this insane Versace that had its own seat on the plane because it was a very structured neckline. So I immediately tell Kate, like, we're going up, right? And she's like, oh, I don't think she wanted her hair fully up. So she came in and it was like a NASCAR like pit stop. She stood with her arms out like this. Elizabeth Stewart got her out of her suit and then into this like work of art dress. The makeup artist is in front. I can't get to her at all. So I'm standing on a sofa, slightly back and to the side. So I just grab her hair, pull it to one side, and I just start pinning and knotting it up. And it became this little side chignon that it happened like within 90 seconds. And it's got to be my all-time favorite hair that I've ever styled because it feels like me wrapped up in a hairdo. Like it looks effortless. There's like 100 pins in there, but it looks like she might shake her head and it might all fall out.
Totally.
Which is my favorite thing. My favorite way for updos to look. Because I also love Dakota Johnson at the Toronto Film Festival. I can't remember what year, but she was in this amazing green gown. And we did like a last minute top knot. And it proves like when you have good bangs, it's a whole hairstyle.
It is.
Mark,
You can throw your hair into a ponytail, into a top knot, into anything. As long as those bangs are styled, you're good.
We need to talk about bangs. Like
Okay.
you know all the answers. What is the secret to having good bangs? Because Kirby and I know we've had some bad bang trims. We've had bad bang days.
This is me having trimmed my own bangs. So I need you to fix my bangs,
I
Mark.
will. Of course I will.
Like
Of
post
course.
haste. Like literally, I'm like, do not look at my bangs. Like
Oh my
I
God,
am
I'll
the
get
one
my
behind
scissors
the
out right
curtain.
now.
Literally.
I mean, it's not like a formula. That's the thing. It's every face is different. So every hair type and texture is different. Like I have when people ask me specific about Ashley and Mary Kate, I'm like, they have such different hair. Like I approach it completely
Really?
different.
The
I
two
use
of
different,
them?
yes, I use different products for each one a lot of times. So their whole approach to, I mean, Ashley's hair is much curlier than Mary Kate's, and it's much darker.
Oh.
But Mary Kate's is a little more coarse.
Wow. Okay, since we're talking
right.
about the Olsons, the waves.
The waves.
Do you remember the first
basically
time ever doing
invented
that?
it.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time ever doing the waves on the Olsons, and how did that come to fruition?
I mean, and what's so funny is how they've changed so much at the whole process of getting ready. It used to be a fight who sat in my chair first. You know, they would sit down, soaking wet hair, get that full blowout, then go back with the iron, never open the clamp, just wrap it around. And then it was about tons of dry shampoo on the roots, and then whatever like salt spray or something to make the ends piecey. But back then it was more like we would use serums and creams to create that like piecey. If you go back and look in like the early 2000s, everyone looks like they have greasy hair. Like we needed to put that frizzies away, John Frieda. Like it was getting a little too heavy on everybody. And like everyone was afraid of a flyaway. They were too in the beginning. And then they started getting more into air drying. And then the fight always became about who would have to come to me first because they wanted to air dry as much as possible. I think that all started, there was one year for Met Gala. Oh, Ashley was wearing the most beautiful, like orange and all these citrus toned vintage Dior gown. And I wouldn't say she was purposefully going against theme. But the theme was very much about like, I think it was the machine age
Ex Machina?
Yeah.
Or,
in the
Yeah.
fashion world, something like that. So Ashley found this insane gown that was completely handmade. Like women spent hundreds of hours sewing every jewel onto this gown. So she requested, like, I don't want to use heat. I don't want to use tools. I don't want to like, let's keep this going. So I set her hair with clips and let it air dry. And it turned out so...
To create the wave?
Wow.
To pull her curl out just a little bit around the face. And we had a very specific look that Jesus was our reference.
I love a Jesus reference. It's Ashley and Jesus.
So it was very much like a statue of Jesus with the wave right around the face.
What's your favorite tool to use when it comes to waves in general?
Oh my gosh, the R-Session Pro Tools double barrel iron, and it's impossible to find. I scour eBay.
They don't make it anymore?
No. This is the best connection ever through Ashley and Mary Kate, their makeup artist, Anna Marie. She was laughing at my iron. It was held together with like duct tape. It looked like it was like, I think there were wires exposed. And she was like, it's time to get a new one of those. And I'm like, yeah, but they're impossible to find. I can't find it. She's like, oh, I'll bring you one. I'm like, what? She's like, that's my husband's company. She's married to Frank Rizzieri, our session tools. It's Kevin Ryan and Frank Rizzieri. So I did get like a batch of new irons, but they have two double barrel irons. One has one barrel twice the size as the other, and then they have an iron that is the same size barrel. They're the most perfect spaced apart that you can create those like, everyone's doing flat iron waves and like bends instead of perfect waves. And those irons are the best way to achieve it. I mean, I use those irons all the time.
Someone needs to make them again.
I agree.
We have too many hot round brushes. We need more.
Amen.
Yeah. And all of the wave barrels now are like these 3
Yes, it's the
barrels.
same size.
And they're all the same
They
size.
give you
and
more
they're
of a
really
king.
they're
Yes.
like wide.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I need a smaller.
Totally.
But I don't want my hair crimped either.
No,
Yes.
exactly.
So-
I mean, I have one of those in my kit because sometimes it's good to just touch up the ends with that if you need a little bit of a bend on there. But I like my old school,
Oh
old school tools.
Yeah.
Although I'm newly into T3.
Oh, okay.
I'm really late to the game. I mean, I've seen the white irons on like so many of my peers like use those irons, and I don't know why it took me so long to pick them up and try them out, and they're the easiest things to use in the world.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And they create the perfect wave.
We like a T3 curling iron. That's
Yeah.
what you use, right?
Yeah, I love my
that's what I
T3.
use. Wait, what about hair dryer?
I mean, Harry Josh is still my favorite, but again, like I'm scouring eBay. My assistant like
living
found
in
like
the past.
3 options for me. He's like Shopbop, eBay, or like somewhere else. And I'm
Are
like,
they not
which
on
one
Durham
is
Store anymore? What?
Not anymore.
Oh, bummer.
I know.
So you think he's done or phasing it out?
I'm not sure. We've like been DMing a little bit. I need to like dig in there and find out what happens.
They're like,
'cause
where is the hair dryer?
it really is. I mean, I gotta say it's the best. But I got into, ever since Dyson moved like the motor into the hand thing, like a lot of other brands are doing that. I feel like it's, Olivia Garden makes a really good blow dryer that's smaller and it's much quieter. I mean, I still like the power of like my old school Harry Josh.
We don't have that much time with you, and
Oh
we
my
want to answer
gosh.
some like listener
I
questions.
feel like we just got started.
I know.
No.
I know. What is the best way that we can communicate the kind of haircut that we want to our hairstylists? Like, are photos sufficient enough, or like, do you need to know like how we usually wear our hair? You know, all that information.
The photos are the perfect like kicking off point. It's a great conversation starter because then as a hairstylist, I'm going to ask the client like, are you going to spend time blow drying your bangs every day? They are a little bit of a commitment. Like how much time do you have to spend on your hair? Like what's your natural texture like? Are these layers going to work for it? Like there's a million questions that will start from that one photo. But now what I'm seeing is so many people are bringing in AI photos.
No.
And I'm like, it was one thing when they'd be like, I want my hair like Giselle. I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody wants hair like Giselle. Like Giselle wants hair like Giselle
Yeah.
when someone's not doing it. And I used to tell clients all the time, like, you know, I did that hair. There's about 16 wefts of hair extensions in there, like 2 wind machines blowing it up. Like, so you're not going to walk down the street looking like this. But now it's more like, well, you know, this photo is AI generated. So this isn't even like real hair. Like, let's find some real pictures of like a lob or a bob.
Wow.
I
That's
can't believe
so
how many people are bringing
concerning.
in like AI. I'm like, you know, it says right down there, AI generated. So someone put their dream hair on this.
Wait, what does it look like usually? Like who is
Well,
it
it's
on?
it's usually a way too filtered, you
Yep.
know,
and
Gasified.
it's,
Yes.
and it's a lot of hair.
like 3 times as much hair as anyone actually has.
Yeah.
Like Jessica
Yeah.
Simpson on the cover of her Christmas album.
I mean,
Like I used to take to my hairstylist, and they're like, okay, first of all, you're going to burn all your hair off. And second of all,
That's not her
that's
hair.
like 36 wefts of
Yeah.
hair.
Exactly. I mean, she had her own line.
Yeah.
Her and Ken had a
Yeah.
line of hair extensions for a while.
And I was like, okay, figure it out.
Yeah.
I really wanna
That's
do it.
what I want to look like.
So
Wait,
funny.
on that note, are there any hair extensions that you like? Like
Oh,
favorite?
yes.
Tell me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Great Lengths makes amazing ones. I feel the hair shop here in LA is amazing because they have everything you can possibly need. The best quality I've ever, like, for clients that want it, like a set to take home and like they're going to really take care of them, there's a place called Garland Drake in Costa Mesa. It's the highest quality I've ever worked with.
Okay.
Danilo introduced me to them like in the 90s.
Costa Mesa.
Are
Yeah.
those clip-ins?
Yeah, clip-ins.
Okay.
Okay, realistically, how often should we be getting trims if we're trying to grow out our hair?
It really depends on the length and style. Like if you're maintaining a bob or a lob or a haircut that really relies on the cut as the style, then 6 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, I see most of my clients maybe 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Dakota gets like one good haircut a year. So does Ashley. So does Mary Kate. Like,
Wow.
It used to be that I would
But
cut.
not the bangs.
Oh, the bangs. No, I'll get a text like, where are you? What side of town are you on?
Can I come to you?
Like,
Throw in the parking lot.
do we meet in West Hollywood, Malibu? Like,
Because you said Dakota does her own bangs now.
yeah.
She doesn't cut her own bangs.
No, not cut.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Oh my God, we're the same person.
There was an
You are.
incident, though, not too long ago where I was like, wait, what?
Did I do that?
How did this get so disconnected? And she's like, well, sometimes you lift them up. So I wanted to do it like how you do it. I'm like, let's just stick to only hitting those very ends with thinning shears.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
I love that.
Okay, let's talk about heat protectants.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that like whatever you put your hair on your hair, like a mousse or these like thickening sprays, like is that sufficient enough as a heat protectant, or should we really be using something that is labeled heat protectant?
There's a lot of products that do have heat protectant in there, but if you're looking at a volumizer or a mousse, there's going to be a lot of alcohol in there to make the product dry. So it's not going to be protecting it. What hairstylists love to say is that you're not seeing your hair smoke, it's the product. And it really is. But if there's a lot of alcohol or silicone in the product, as soon as heat gets there to it, it's going to smoke.
Yeah.
Which can be really, really scary. But I usually only use volumizers at the root anyways, and you don't really need heat protectant there. I do like it from mid-length to ends. And there's so many options now. Like I love Briogeo makes a product called Farewell Frizz that I love to put in hair before blow drying. But I only put it on mid-length to end because especially my clients with long hair, that's where the most damage is.
Totally. All right. Scalp serums or oils, are they a scam?
I have a lot. I think that I was introduced to a company called Dr. Groot recently, a South Korean product that's coming to the US. And I love their approach to scalp care because you're not going to have healthy hair without a healthy scalp. You really aren't. And so many times you're really affecting your hair by dealing with your scalp issues. Like if you're using something like Head and Shoulders every day, like you are drying your hair out so much. And I feel like so many in the US of our products that are supposed to be helping your scalp are really just like perpetuating the cycle that you have to be on so you'll never stop using it. Like when dry shampoo got such a backlash, and then that's when we saw the scalp scrubs, like literally like exfoliate your scalp. And everyone was peeling off layers and layers of their scalp. And you really shouldn't do that ever because then it just causes your scalp to overproduce more oil to make up for what you just stripped. So I do think we need to take care of our scalp just like we do our skin. But I feel like if there's an oil, there has to be alcohol in it to dry.
Right, because otherwise you're going to get greasy roots.
Exactly. Yep. But there are some sprays and tonic, like Olaplex makes a scalp serum though. Like I don't want to say they're all bad because I have a client who has really serious scalp issues. We have tried everything to keep it from flaking. And the Olaplex serum, she can use it as like a touch up throughout the day to re-moisturize without it like making her roots look oily.
Oh, interesting.
But that Dr. Groot makes a conditioner called Miracle In-Shower Treatment that you put directly on your scalp. And as a hairdresser, I've told people for 100 years, don't ever put conditioner on your scalp. Never, ever, ever. Only from the ears down. So for me to go say the exact opposite, it was hard for me to get used to, and it was hard for clients. But once they did, it's probably the only time I got like 100% positive feedback. Like no one came back and said like, this doesn't work for me.
I love that product.
It's
And
insane.
Something that you told me that I thought was really funny was that you repackaged some of like your favorite products, like a Dove shampoo, in like fancier bottles, and then you give them to your clients,
Yes.
and then they'll text you and be like, "Oh my God, I loved that shampoo."
Yes.
You're like,
for the longest time, Dove really could have put like tested on the Olsons on their bottles if they wanted to, because I really did. They were like my biggest product testers because they do their own hair every day and they air dry. And so like actors have people doing their hair every day.
Yeah.
So you're not really going to see if a product is working or not. So I would get the sample bottles and then put them in like pretty little glass bottles and send them off. And all I would write is like sample shampoo, sample conditioner. And they would give me their honest feedback about it. And then one time I got a text from Mary Kate's assistant, like, she really needs that shampoo and conditioner. I'm like, it's just Dove Daily Moisture shampoo and conditioner. You can get it at any drugstore in New York.
Wow.
And to this day, you said
She
they're
sent me a
still
picture.
using.
She sent me a picture recently. She's like, still my fave.
Wow.
The secret to the Olsen's hair.
Dove really hit the jackpot with Mark.
They did.
I gotta tell you, like in spades.
They probably miss you so much.
They're like, please come back. Come back. Okay, we're gonna do a quick rapid fire.
Okay.
Actually, we may not know the answer to this.
Oh.
What's the best dry shampoo?
Right now, I'm torn between Hours, if I want an aerosol, and Crown Affair with that brush. So it's like a blush brush almost. So because even with all the dry shampoos that are coming aerosol, 90% of the time you want them on the hairline. And you're going to spray your whole face because you've got to hold that can back a good like 10 inches. So having that brush that you can just brush right on the scalp of the hairline, like it's saved so many bang, like on long photo shoot days with Dakota even. Like I can just go in and hit her bangs with that little bit of dry shampoo on the brush and it doesn't feel powdery or like get all over the place.
I forgot to tell you, but I gave it a second chance.
And you figured it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't like it
really?
at first because I was like, what am I doing? It feels like I'm like brushing through my scalp with
Yes.
this thing, like whistle while you work. I don't get it. And then I'm like, no, I need to figure this out because my biggest pain point with my hair are my bangs because they do get really oily quickly, which is fine. But I loved that you mentioned that you have to hold the dry shampoo aerosol far enough away. It gets all over your face. And I'm like, I don't want this on my face.
Yeah.
I don't want this one near my eyes.
Yeah.
But I need my hairline. So I will pick it up, like pick my bangs up and do like kind of a little zhuzh here and then all the way around here.
Yes.
And I feel like, this is freshly washed hair, but it really has made a difference. And so I kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Or
started using it because of you.
even spray your aerosol dry shampoo on a flat brush and then brush through the bangs.
Smart. We
You
love
know?
it. We love a tip like that. We
Oh,
love it.
yeah.
Love the tip.
Yes.
Okay.
And Briogeo just came out with a dry shampoo that's in a puff.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I think those are going to be huge
Yes.
this
I do
year.
too.
Puff dry shampoos.
Yeah.
Like, because you can stick them in your purse.
Well,
And
also,
travel friendly.
a client just introduced me. I'd never seen it before, but like a color touch up that's in a little puffer like that. So you can just like hit your right where you need it to cover up some grays.
Smart.
Parker
puffs-
Posey just introduced me to that.
Oh.
Parker Posey.
I have to say, like
Our what is the medication she's taking on?
Lorazepam.
Lorazepam. Lorazepam queen.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay. This is going to be too hard for you to answer, but we're going to ask you anyways. What celebrity has the best hair?
Mary-Kate Olsen.
Wow.
Actually, Lizzie Olsen. Because she has twice as much.
Okay.
Yeah. She has insane hair. I know, right?
She's so
I know.
pretty.
She needs a hair campaign, that one.
No, totally.
I just want her to be in everything.
Everything.
Quite frankly. WandaVision, literally she has so many more
Genius was
accolades
that
than that. But that show was
show.
brilliant. And it I cried every episode. It was so good. She's such an incredible actress.
I loved it.
Okay, what is one hair tool or brush you can't live without? I'd actually love to know, since we did kind of cover
Yeah.
tools,
Yeah,
what brush
brush.
can't you live without?
The mixed bristle round brush.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
using those brushes for 30 years. They're my absolute favorite.
Is there a hairstylist that we should be watching or someone's work where you're like really inspired by?
I mean, so many of my peers, but I'm such the proud papa, but come on, Clay. Like,
Clayton
Clayton
Hopkins.
he's killing the game. Like, I'm he absorbed everything. He was a literal sponge.
Yeah.
And he came out, guns blazing, but he has such a great positive attitude to be around. And he's a joy.
In terms of your peers, though, I'm curious, is there anyone that you think people should be following so they learn more about hair history? Do you have anybody that you're like, wow, they're really teaching the basis of hairstyling?
Even my favorite people to follow, I can sit and watch the Toupee Queen for 5 hours. And I think she's changing hair pieces for men in a huge way. Have you seen her?
Yeah. Okay.
think so.
She's on TikTok and
Yes.
she will do the whole thing where she has the glue and
Yeah.
she's I recently started following her because
And they look incredible.
They look incredible. She just became really popular on Reels. I think
Yeah.
that's why people are starting to talk about her now. But she was on TikTok. Her Reels have been taking off. I just follow her because I'm like, this is an amazing makeover. I would watch a whole show of her doing toupee installs for these men.
I want to go take classes with her.
No, you should.
I would. And
like 25 years younger.
How is she not doing half of Hollywood? Like, there's some bad pieces in this town.
Oh
like,
my God.
Come on.
Mark, literally, you, me, and Sarah need to go get dinner because I could talk to you about every single hairpiece that I have questions about. And there's actually one actor that I am obsessed with. And I have told his hairstylist, I'm like, his hairpiece looks so good. And she's like, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, good. I mean, because there was some, like, when you're looking at a red carpet and you can see, like, some lace lifting up.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Or, like, when literally you're like, that is a different hairline. And so many people are like, it's a hair transplant. I'm like, babes, he did not have time for a hair transplant.
Right.
Like,
although, I mean, those flights to Turkey and Romania, they are booked.
Turkish hairlines.
I mean, have you seen the photos?
Yeah,
Yes.
we had an episode.
Oh, that's right.
One of our
Yes.
friends, Queet, went
and did the whole thing.
Literally so much hair now.
No,
so much
he
hair.
looks like Ken. Like, it's crazy
I
how
want
much
it.
hair he has.
I need it.
I'm like, I
I
want
know,
it.
same.
Like,
Let's all go to Turkey. Wait, on that
Yes.
note of
Medical
like red
tourism.
carpet and like Hollywood, is there anything that you're seeing that you're like, this needs to be done? I'm done with this.
put it to rest.
I mean, yeah. But I know that the pendulum always swings.
Yeah.
You know, and right now we're seeing a whole bunch of like, just like some questionable wigs and some really questionable hair pieces. Like either, well, like you said, like the sudden change. Like when someone changes their hair like 10 inches from one appearance to the next, like I love a trend that lasts. So if you debuted this amazing lob haircut, like rock it and show us like 10 different ways to rock it throughout the award season. Like you come out the next day in a wig to your waist and then like 2 days later, it's like mid-length. Like I mean, I know that it's fun to experiment and everything else, but I think like, especially when you're promoting a movie or something like that, you're telling a story with all of your red carpets and things like that.
And it's like an era too. It's like live through the era of that. And then you can change it for the next era.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like Britney Spears, for example. It's like we know her from her specific hair eras.
When she was a bad girl, she had brunette.
We didn't get to talk
Britney
about like, your
Spears.
time with Christina Aguilera.
No, okay, hold on.
Oh,
hold on.
yeah.
We are not leaving this
Oh.
place without talking about Britney Spears. I'm sorry, Mark. You know she's my
Yeah, everything.
absolute. Like Clay made me a Britney Spears wig
I
last year
saw that.
because.
It looks so good.
And everyone literally, there's this one girl in my DMs who I like have not accepted her message. I will show you. I almost blocked her because every message is go back to blonde, go back to blonde, go back to blonde, go back to blonde.
Really?
I wrote her, I accepted it, and I was like, do you know you're being rude? Like, my
Yeah.
hair is not blonde. This is my
Yeah.
natural hair color.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
then I'm like, should I go back to blonde? Because I love Britney, and I
No.
have this wig now,
No,
and I'm
you're
obsessed
like-
with
you're-
it.
No, you've got your wig. Pop your wig
Yeah.
on.
Pop the wig.
When
Okay.
you want your blonde.
Tell us a Britney story, please.
I've only done a couple shoots with her. Like it wasn't, and it was because Herb Ritz shot when she had her babies. So I did like the people covers and stuff like that. So I didn't get a whole bunch of the later.
Behind the scenes
Yeah.
of the Britney.
Okay, but you worked with Christina.
I did for years.
For years. Tell us some stories.
She was fun. She was, I mean, talk about like taking risks and really wanting to have fun and like doing the voice with her. Like every day we got to like really push ourselves as far as we could. Like, but we're putting her on TV, but like, let's throw a Jennifer Bear, like priceless, like headband and like, let's put it on sideways today. And, you know, she's brave like that. I think musicians have a very different idea about like how they present themselves. Like they do want to constantly change.
Their image
So
is
she
way
was
different
fun.
than an actress, for sure. Was that around like the burlesque era?
Mm-mm. I
Okay.
was after. I did seasons 2 and 3 of The Voice.
Okay. I was like, was that Wagon Wheel Watusi?
I wish. Oh my gosh. Ah,
Have you ever done Cher?
no.
That would
But
be a
Wait,
dream.
is there
she
a
was-
celebrity who like you haven't done that you're like dying to do?
I mean, there's so many like gorgeous like ladies that I'd love to get my hands on. But you know, I had a meeting with my agent like 30 years ago, and there was like a whole like amazing list of names, and I've gotten to work with every single one of them except for one, and it's Faith Hill.
What?
I have wanted to work with Faith. I mean, I love her music. I watch her shows. Like
She's a beautiful woman.
gorgeous.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous.
How do we like let's make that happen?
I know.
Oh my, I love that. That's such a good answer. Little Texan girl in me is so happy.
Right?
Okay, y'all, and if you're watching this, literally, you're about to see these bangs transform the next time you see me.
Can't wait.
Mark brought his shears. He's about to like cut my bangs and fix them. Thank God.
Mark, where can we find you and follow you?
I'm on Instagram at Mark Townsend 1. Like I don't do Snapchat or TikTok or any of those things. I'm
Who's
an
Mark
old
Townsend?
one.
Who's just Mark
Who's
Townsend?
Mark Townsend?
Can we get you?
Look right now.
Stop.
Actually,
no.
look right now.
Okay, I'm dying. Hold on. Let's see.
Because I'm like,
You're like, I know this person.
Do you read his bio?
not a famous hairdresser. I'm dying. Look, Kirby. Not a famous hairdresser.
Wow.
Well, then give it up.
Wow, Mark Townsend, that's not a famous hairdresser. I gotta commend you for holding out. Like of course.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and if you are in LA, you can book a haircut with you.
Yes, I cut on Mondays at Mesh Hair Salon.
Yeah, a working hairstylist. I
Literally
love this.
treat
I
yourself.
haven't-
In the
you guys
salon.
I
come to
love it.
LA.
I love being in the salon, like being around other hairdressers and like we're talking about like, hey, what product are you using over there? Oh my gosh, that hair looks amazing. And
And they're probably
Just-
learning so much from even watching you.
just chatting back
my
and
gosh.
forth. I love it.
I can come see you.
Come
Yes,
in.
I will.
Come
How
in and
fun.
come get the full salon treatment. We'll
Okay.
do it like we'll make it a getting you ready for your podcast or something.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Love. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you. I know. I want to be a weekly guest now.
Please.
Okay. We'll
great.
bring you back and then
One
we'll-
story a week.
Yeah, we'll do like news with you where we're like, okay, Mark, commentate on the news.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love it.
That'd be so fun.